All right, everybody, welcome back. So you know how much we all love a good story,
Oh, yeah.
especially those real estate horror stories, the ones that are like so crazy you can't believe they're true, but they also teach you something.
Absolutely. And I think we all know someone who's got a story like that, or maybe you've even got one yourself, right?
Definitely, and that's what we're diving deep into today. The wild world of real estate gone wrong.
I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? Those stories that are equal parts entertaining and kind of terrifying, but also offer a glimpse into what can really happen in the real estate market.
Exactly. So if you're buying or selling or just fascinated by the market like I am,
Yeah.
you can want to stick around.
We're talking about everything from ghostly listings
To nightmare tenants.
and even a buyer who vanished without a trace.
Seriously, poof, gone.
It's a wild ride.
Now, before we get into the really juicy stuff, I do want to mention that while these stories are definitely entertaining, they also hold some really valuable lessons for anyone involved in real estate.
You know, we often hear these stories and think, oh, that'll never happen to me.
Right.
But the reality is that these situations can and do happen, and being aware of them can help you avoid potential pitfalls in your own real estate journey.
All right, so let's set the scene here. Imagine you're at a house showing right, and you're walking through this beautiful property.
Mm.
Everything seems perfect, but then suddenly the lights start flickering.
Oh, no.
There are these weird creaking noises coming from who knows where.
Creepy.
Is it just faulty wiring, or is it something a bit more supernatural?
Right. Is the house actually haunted?
And these aren't just spooky stories for campfire nights. These haunted listings, as they're sometimes called,
Yeah.
they can actually have a real impact on a property's value.
You know, it's funny because even if there's no actual proof of a haunting, just the rumors or stories surrounding a property can really affect how buyers perceive it.
Like, would you buy a house that had a reputation for being haunted?
It's a tough one, right? Because on the one hand, you might be able to get a great deal because of the stigma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the haunted discount.
Right, exactly. But then there's the whole living with the possibility of, ghostly roommates.
That's a hard pass for me.
And, it's not just about personal beliefs either. There are actual studies that have shown that houses with negative events associated with them, even if they're just rumors, can sell for significantly less than comparable properties.
Wow, so even if you don't believe in ghosts, those stories can still end up costing you money.
That's the thing about real estate. It's not just about bricks and mortar. It's about emotions and perceptions, too.
Speaking of things that can go bump in the night, let's talk about another kind of real estate nightmare. Dealing with nightmare tenants.
Ugh, yeah, the stories are rough.
We've got stories of rental properties being completely trashed.
You know the ones where you walk in, you're like, how did this even happen?
Exactly, like unexpected pets, wild parties damage you wouldn't even believe.
It's every landlord's worst nightmare.
And it really emphasizes the importance of being prepared, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Thorough tenant screening is key, making sure you're getting reliable tenants who will treat your property with respect.
And having a really solid lease agreement in place that spells out all the rules and consequences.
I mean, can you imagine walking into one of those disaster zones after a tenant moves out?
Oh, it makes me shudder just thinking about it.
It would be a total nightmare, and not to mention a huge financial headache.
It's a good reminder that prevention is worth a pound of cure, right?
Absolutely. All right, moving on to one of the most baffling stories we came across. The case of the disappearing buyer.
Okay, this one is seriously strange.
Imagine going through the entire process of selling a property.
Right, you've got the offer accepted, the inspections, done all the paperwork signed.
You're just days away from closing, and then poof,
The buyer's gone.
vanished without a trace.
Looks like something out of a movie.
Did they have a sudden change of heart? Did they find a better DO? Did they get cold feet?
We may never know the real reason.
But it just highlights how important it is to have clear communication and legally sound agreements in place throughout the entire real estate process.
Because you never know what might happen, right?
Exactly. All right, on a slightly less mysterious note, let's talk about renovation horror stories.
Oh, yeah, those are always good for a laugh or a cry, depending on the situation.
You start a project thinking it's going to be smooth sailing,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, you uncover hidden problems.
Like what the previous owners thought was creative plumbing.
Exactly. Or you find out that the wiring is a fire hazard waiting to happen.
And suddenly your budget goes out the window.
It's like a never-ending domino effect of unexpected expenses and delays.
Renovations are definitely not for the faint of heart.
But, they also teach you a lot about being prepared.
Right. Doing your due diligence before you start any project.
Getting multiple quotes from contractors.
Having a realistic budget and then adding a little cushion on top of that.
Because you never know what you're going to find once you start tearing down walls.
Those for sure.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into real estate gone wrong, what are some key takeaways? Well, first and foremost, knowledge is power.
Yes, being informed about the potential pitfalls can help you avoid them.
Do your research, ask questions, get advice from experts.
And don't be afraid to walk away from a deal if something doesn't feel right.
Because honestly, sometimes the best deals are the ones you don't make.
Couldn't agree more.
And remember, every real estate transaction, no matter how straightforward it seems, has a story behind it.
What stories will you encounter on your real estate journey?
That's the question, isn't it? And we'd love to hear your stories too, the funny, the scary, the unbelievable. Share them with us in the comments below.
We're all ears.
Because let's face it, real estate is full of surprises, and sometimes those surprises are what make it so interesting.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the wild world of real estate gone wrong.
Until next time, happy house hunting. And stay spooky and stay